Jim.
Thank you.
Right. Now we're up to... No. Notice of motion. Number 20. So it's been... Right, we're up to number 20. You got that? Request for staff advice regarding process-free areas, and the mover, I assume, is Aaron, and the seconder is David. Would either of you two like to talk to it, please? Yeah, far away.
Yeah, this was a pretty simple notice of motion. It's not about stopping people's ability to protest or complain or make petitions. It is purely around sensitive sites in the city where I don't believe people, and I've had a lot of feedback, should be protesting and harassing other people and businesses. Happens quite a bit, and I'm more than happy if the report also looks into where could become a site for protests or a speaker's corner. Once upon a time it was in the square. The Bridge of Remembrance wasn't used for this kind of thing, because that's now where it's almost the centre of town, because the square's a little bit derelict. That has become the attention point. You'll see them blocking the, and I'm not going to pick on any particular group, but you'll see them block the tram, you'll see them haranguing tourists and disrupting local businesses, and it's not a good look for the city, but most importantly for me, the Bridge of Remembrance is a sacred site, as are the other ones listed in the notice of motion. So it's purely to ask the staff to investigate and to see what they come back with. It might come back with protesting anywhere, anytime is all right and a good thing, and then that will be the case. We'll just live with that, but it might also come back that it's not.
David?
I'm happy to say it in debate, or now as easy as. Go for debate. Okay. So, no, thank you for the opportunity to present the notice of motion. I'm proud to have seconded it. This is not about stopping protesting. It's about respecting sensitive sites across our city. It's our community is feeling vulnerable during certain times. I've had citizens that have come to me, retailers from the City Mall, people who are employed by Christchurch NZ, volunteers looking after some of our cruise boat people who have said they've felt intimidated, and they talk about the disorder at times. In recent times we've seen this escalate across the world, particularly in Sydney most recently, and we're starting to see those effects now here in Christchurch. Yes, every citizen has the right to protest, but it is, as you'll see in the advice here, it's about peaceful protest and it's about peaceful assembly. This is not just about the Bridge of Remembrance. We are asking staff to investigate sites that could be sensitive sites, that could relate to a mosque from the terrorist attacks or the terror attacks. It could relate to the earthquake memorial. It could relate to a marae. It could relate to many different places within our community. This would not prevent or stop peaceful protests. If nurses wanted to continue to protest outside the hospital, or school children outside the council chambers here around climate emergencies, or the wharfies having a picket line in Lyttelton, it does not stop them. It provides that they would continue to be peaceful. But we would, as a community, if we do this, we would demonstrate that our city, despite of our political flavours, despite of our educational background or social status, have the knowledge, the understanding, and more importantly, the respect to our history. In the first instance, we are asking staff to seek information. We should never be embarrassed or afraid or scared to ask questions. If voting no to this, you are voting no for information. I request my fellow councillors to vote yes today on this notice of motion. We are seeking information to ensure we protect the honour and respect sensitive sites across Christchurch.
Okay, is there any questions of either the mover or the seconder, please? Any discussion or debate? Tim?
Sorry, I did have a question, but we jumped into debate.
No,
But
don't
it's-
know.
I guess when the information comes back, and I'm presuming it will, the definition of a sensitive site, because as David mentioned, you know, you've got mosques, you've got churches, you've got cemeteries, etc. But you know, like I see my relatives who had died in World War I, etc., had done it for freedom, and they might have just gone for an invention, whatever. But that is the end game. So, what's sensitive to me, or more sensitive to me, may be something else. I mean, I was appalled when we moved the cenotaph, for instance. That was totally against anything I believed in, but that happened, and it's what it is. But I guess when the report comes back, will that also kind of have some discussion or some definitions on that and some feedback on that?
Yeah, that'll be an integral part of the report, determining what is a sensitive site. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cal? Well, while we're still in questions, Kelly, or whatever you want, just mix it around.
Yeah.
Right,
We'll
so we'll
jump
go
around.
into debate. You happy? Everyone happy? We're going into debate or discussion. Kelly?
Yeah, I've had mixed thoughts about this. I really enjoyed hearing from John Minto this morning. I thought that was an excellent presentation. I think protest is incredibly important in our society, and I well remember John protesting the Springbok tour very bravely back in the 1980s when I was a teenager, and yeah, it takes a lot of courage to do that. I think it's good for us to actually go through the process of having a think about this, you know, finding out what people think about it. I'm open to the idea, and like Aaron mentioned, you know, look, if staff make some recommendations that are disagreed with, well, we can accept that, but it's a fundamental part of our society, you know, to be able to have free association and to protest anything that we're unhappy with. But it'd be good for us as a city, I think, to have a think about, are there places that we wouldn't like to see protest? Yeah, so I'm not afraid of sort of going down this track, and I hope that you'll support the consideration of this.
Tim?
Thank you, and thank you to David for his presentation, his debate, because I think you should never be afraid of finding information out. So I'm really quite happy with this and comfortable with this. And I mean, when the cenotaph was moved, I thought it was abhorrent. You know, it was absolutely disgusting. But it was moved, and we move on. But I do think part of the report back would be interesting, because for 40 odd years or longer, the public speaking place had been at the steps in front of the cathedral, and I think that was a real focus for the city. So I think, how can we, or why don't we get that back?
Exactly.
What the problems are with that? Yeah, I want to find the information. I may not agree with the findings that come back or whatever that's, but I do want to get the information so we can be better educated with the decision. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Andre?
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I believe that we do need to have a look at spaces like the Bridge Remembrance, and having a look at sort of what hours of the week we're using for things. Make sure that there's a good balance of vibrancy, whether there's, you know, buskers, performers, pop-up gigs, and indeed people's right to protest. I think is part of that area and needs to be. I don't think a blanket ban is something that we should be looking at. I think what we need to look at is the timings around the week and how we can make those spaces work a bit better for everyone, and that's including those who do have the right to use their voice. If this doesn't pass, I'd be absolutely comfortable with working with councillors on exactly that. But resorting to the ban kind of needs to be the last resort. I think even getting information on this today is going to result in a whole lot of new protests. And even though we're just getting advice, like it's how it's going to look, right? So I think banning needs to be a last resort. If there's an issue with these spaces, let's look at how we can manage them first. And we need to be really careful with the sensitive sites one as well. because it was just mentioned that health services wouldn't be impacted. You could still protest outside health services. For a lot of women, that's absolutely horrific, having to put up with protesters outside a hospital when they were accessing health services. Absolutely horrific. And they've had to put up with that for a very long time. So, yeah, we need to be real careful if we're going to start to choosing what sensitive sites are and are not. But like at the same time, I think managing these spaces is where we need to do as a first step. Thank you.
Okay, Pauline.
Yeah, I can't believe that people are thinking about supporting this. I think it's opening this organisation up to a huge, potentially a huge piece of work, and even the piece of work bringing back the recommendation is going to be a big piece of work. Even though it says here it's not, it will be, and I think we've outlined the reason around the table here that defining these sites for a start, that you're going to pick and choose that people can and cannot stand there and express their point of view, and largely, as in my view, it's always peaceful in Christchurch. So I can't believe people are even supporting this to reach the starting gate, so I will not be supporting it today.
Okay.
It's a breach of human rights.
Just throw my 2 cents worth in. I'd just like to agree with everything Tim said. That not very often that happens. But 15 years ago we lost the centre of our town. We lost the heart of our city. So, and by default, people are protesting down, we'll say everywhere, but down at the Bridge of Remembrance. If we get the heart of our city back, so this I think it's a place where let's not lose sight of getting the centre of town fixed so that everything gets back to the way it was. That's what I'd like to see. But that's where it always was, and Steps the Cathedral, and there's tons of room in the square. But anyway, that's my 5 bob words. So I will. We've got move a second. We've got everything. Rotendo, okay. Yes. Sorry. Okay. Ooh. So that is lost. Okay. Okay. No worries. Right.